Hi class, my name is Jesus and I'm going to be doing my presentation on the 1994 Northridge earthquake. And to begin, if you guys don't really know where Northridge is at, I mean, they're kind of really known for having CSUN, Cal State University Northridge. I added a picture here where you guys can kind of see where it's centered. So Northridge is inside the San Fernando Valley, approximately, I would say 30-minute drive from downtown LA and about 20 miles or so from downtown LA. It is in LA County and it's actually only about 150 miles from the San Andreas Fault. You know, if you guys have been to the valley, you know how widespread and huge it is and how there's a lot of different small communities inside of the valley. Well, Northridge is one of them and it's one of the most popular ones. Also mainly due not just because of the earthquake, but because of their university, CSUN. If you can see in the picture here, it's just outlines kind of the county lines of Northridge. Well, the 1994 Northridge earthquake happened on January 17th of 1994. And it actually happened on Martin Luther King Day, which I'll get to in a second, actually was kind of a beneficial factor for it. It happened at around 4:30 a.m. and it only lasted for about 30 seconds, which is actually kind of a lot. You know, some people said it might have lasted more or so, but my source said it lasted about 30 seconds and it had a magnitude of 6.7. You see here the CISN shake map magnitude. It kind of outlines exactly where the epicenter of the damage was, what's outlined in red. And as it outlooks, you can see how the earthquake had a very vast effect all around Southern California. Everything that's yellow also got hit pretty well, but Northridge is what got it the worst. And I was telling you guys the fact that it happened on MLK Day, Martin Luther King Day of January 17th, 1994, was actually kind of a good thing because not a lot of people were working. A lot of people were off. And with it being so early in the day, not a lot of people were commuting, which made casualties and damages a lot less than they should have been, that they could have been actually. So that was one fact that really helped. But I mean, regardless, it still caused a lot of damage. You know, the earthquake was caused by an undocumented blind trust fault. And it actually caused, you know, the good thing about the earthquake was that in the San Fernando Valley, there was a similar earthquake approximately 25 years beforehand. It was called the Sylmar earthquake of 1971, if I remember right. And in that case, the 1971 Sylmar earthquake was very similar to the Northridge earthquake because the Northridge earthquake was also about a 6.6, similar to that of Sylmar's, which was about a 6.7. And they actually had a similar amount of casualties and deaths, actually. It was both around 50 to 60 range. But the damage was a lot more severe as far as Northridge was concerned. You know, as you can see in the image here, Northridge had a lot of property damage, a lot of building damage, and especially a lot of highway damage. This image is actually a real image of one of the main highways. I think this is the intersection of Highway 14, how badly it was hit. And I remember reading a story about a police officer that lost his life because a car flipped out of the freeway and it landed on him, CHP officer on a motorcycle. And that was one of the most saddest stories to hear as far as the earthquake is concerned. But one more thing I wanted to mention about how the Northridge earthquake was benefited by the Sylmar earthquake of 1971. Because of the earthquake in 1971 in Sylmar, which Sylmar is actually like maybe 20 minutes from Northridge, if not closer. That earthquake led a lot of development towards building structures and safety codes and kind of just having safer building foundations. So when Northridge came around, they were benefited because they had already gone through and seen what Sylmar did. So that really also helped them in a way. Yeah, this is just another image right here of this was one of the parking lots. From what I believe, this was a parking lot of CSUN, Cal State University Northridge. This was one of the parking lots at the campus, and kind of shows how badly damaged the building. The building collapsed, and luckily, when it happened at 4:30 estimated a.m., there weren't many cars, if any, at the parking structure. So once again, the benefit of it happened on MLK Day when there weren't classes, and nobody was on campus at 4:30 a.m. Maybe besides a couple custodians or so. Yeah, the damage was so bad, it was nowhere near Silmar as far as damage is concerned. Damage was actually at 20 billion in damages, so bad that at the time I remember reading about this, that the mayor of LA at the time contacted Bill Clinton, who was the president at the time, to send more relief and more funds in order to kind of help the city of Northridge recover from such damages. Because think about it, the damages were so bad because of all the buildings that collapsed, but also kind of the transportation, like I saw in the previous image of all the freeways that collapsed, and a lot of actually on the next slide, I'll show you a really sad story about the place that was hit the worst, and that's actually this apartment structure called Northridge Meadows apartment. At the Northridge Meadows apartment, at the right in the heart of Northridge, 16 people died, and the majority of those deaths came because those people were living on the first floor of the apartment structure. That apartment structure ended up collapsing, and like the first floor was where everyone got kind of trapped in, and they died, obviously. And you can see here in this image, this was an image taken like a couple days, if not the following day of the earthquake in 1994. And yeah, you can see it was where they counted the most deaths, and it's kind of notorious for the Northridge earthquake. After the 1994 Northridge earthquake, luckily we haven't had such a severe one of that magnitude in Southern California. But I mean, with us having so close to the San Andreas Fault and obviously the Ring of Fire in the Pacific, it caused a lot of heads to turn, and it was like we're really at the high risk here at California. We had such a severe one in Silmar, not to mention the San Francisco one in the early 1900s, but then the Silmar one in the San Fernando Valley, and the Northridge one in the 1990s, and moving into the 2000s. Everybody was on high alert for the next big earthquake. So because of Northridge and because of our severity at risk here in California, we have our yearly shakeouts, which myself at school took a part of. And it was kind of really, I remember being a young student going through these shakeouts, just thinking it'd be really scary if we actually had to deal with an earthquake one day here on campus. And luckily never happened, and knock on some wood that it never does, but it's inevitable. So it caused a lot of precautions and kind of the safety codes of drop, cover, and hold on. Don't go out running out your door, don't go next to big and tall things. Honestly, just find somewhere to drop, find something to cover yourself, and hold on for dear life. And also have a plan in your household, with your family, as far as what to do and how to get to safety. Have some dry food stored up, or some water, some canned food, and of course have a lot of first aid kits, lights, etc. And because of the 1994 Northridge earthquake, a lot of attention was placed onto us local Southern California residents to, be better prepared for anything to happen. And thank you, class. And that concludes my presentation. So thank you for stopping by.